Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about today's trading. We had kind of a long weekend, right? We had Martin Luther King Day yesterday. Going to talk about today's, the trade I made on PayPal. I'll give you guys an update on the PayPal trade from last week. Did not go so well. I held a little bit too long, stayed in a little bit too long, and actually ended up losing on that swing trade that I was telling you guys about. I think it was Thursday. So I will give you guys the updates on that. But let's just talk about general market context, everything that's going on. You know, the next day or so, I think is going to be kind of up and down. Like you can see this in the markets. The SPY is up, and the futures were up as well. You had Dow futures up like 200 points. The NASDAQ and the SPY are both up. But we're kind of in this transitional period, right? We've got Trump's final day in office, all right? Despite what some people are still saying on social media, we have Biden coming in, the inauguration, hoping that goes off, without a hitch, hoping there's no, upheaval, societal upheaval, political upheaval during the inauguration. We don't have to agree with everything, but we don't want to see the U.S. descend into all-out civil conflict. I don't want to see that, and I don't think it would be good for markets, but who knows? Maybe that would be great for markets. But last week you had U.S. equities down, right? The S&P and the NASDAQ both lost about 1.5%. The Dow was down almost 1%. It was one of the worst weeks for all three indexes since October. And I actually thought that stocks were going to respond a lot more to Biden's, $1.9 trillion stimulus plan that he unveiled last week. And so I was a little overly bullish, right? Especially on PayPal when I took my trade, I was overly bullish. And I took a loss because I kind of overtraded, sized up a little bit too much, and was not staying in tune with the market, right? Was not staying in tune with market context. But I was, I guess, disappointed because I thought the Biden coming out with his $1.9 trillion stimulus plan would boost the markets a little bit more, and it did not, right? The markets responded kind of negatively. So maybe a lot of that stuff was already priced in. In hindsight, I guess I should have figured that. But for Biden's inauguration, we've got the National Guard and active duty forces deployed to the streets of D.C., and it's not just D.C., it's capitals all over the U.S. They are mobilizing even the military, right? Not just the National Guard. So this is kind of concerning. Hopefully this isn't a, permanent state of affairs or state of the country. I don't want to live in a militarized police state, but they want to make sure that nothing bad happens at Biden's inauguration. Events that are definitely going to affect the markets this week are, there's different global economic data. I think China has some of the strongest, globally speaking, has some of the strongest gains in equities, and it's lifting the Asian markets. But you also have U.S. earnings reports. J.P. Morgan this morning actually beat Wall Street expectations, not only for their revenue, but also their profit and earnings. Bank of America didn't do so well, but it looks like the banks last week, they got kind of, clobbered. And this week, they're coming out with their earnings, and JP Morgan is leading banks kind of rising up a little bit. But you've got other U.S. earnings like this afternoon after market close. We've got Netflix. Let's actually just take a look at Netflix real quick. What is the ticker symbol? Here, let me type in Netflix. It's NFLX. I should have figured. So let me zoom out here on a daily. So yeah, you got Netflix basically consolidating here. Now, they're coming out with their fourth quarter earnings this afternoon, right after the market close. So it's possible. I haven't really charted this out, but you can definitely see the consolidation here. Netflix could be getting ready for a move higher. if they really do beat expectations, if they blow it out of the water, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a move higher. But Netflix is already, $500 a share. Some people say it's overvalued, right? It's kind of in one of those overvalued tech stock categories. Could we see a move down, right? If Netflix were to disappoint, could we see a move down? Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think Netflix is going to do after it releases earnings? It could continue to sort of just bob up and down as well. But that's some of the things that are affecting the markets. Also, the Biden inauguration, right? Hopefully that goes peacefully. But you also have Janet Yellen, who is Biden's pick for Treasury Secretary. She is appearing before the Senate Financial Committee to be, confirmed, I suppose. And Janet Yellen is very dovish, and she worked for the Federal Reserve. I think she was part of the implementation of Obama's stimulus programs. I don't have a picture of her, but I could try to pull one up here real quick. My internet's really laggy, so maybe not. Maybe you guys can look up Janet Yellen, but she is appearing before the Senate, so she's most likely going to get confirmed. I don't see why she wouldn't, and I think that this is going to be a good thing for the markets. I think, if anything, the markets will show strength on the proposition that Janet Yellen is going to be our Treasury Secretary for the next week. So, a big week in earnings. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs reported their fourth quarter results. You've got Netflix reporting this afternoon. Last week may have, especially on Friday, may have been impacted by the banks being down after some of the earnings last week. I think it was Wells Fargo and Citigroup had missed their revenue expectations. But like I said, JP Morgan, they blew it out of the water. Right now, you have, the stocks that I'm sort of focusing on are PayPal, Square, Apple, Neo, Workhorse. Before we get into all that, though, we'll just kind of look at the macros here. Like I said, the SPY is up. You've got the NASDAQ and the Dow up a little bit. Futures are up as well. The dollar is down a little bit, but still in that weekly demand area, right? We're still right around 90.5. And so the DXY dollar index, it doesn't tell the entire story of the dollar, right? A lot of people use the DXY. Let me show you on a bigger chart. A lot of people use the DXY to say that, the dollar's, completely bearish right now, that the dollar's demise is imminent. And it doesn't actually tell the whole story. There are some people out there that believe the demand for dollars is going to exceed the supply, right? From the supply side, you could totally understand the bearish case for the dollar. But when you think about the demand, when you think about all the dollar-denominated debt that's going to have to be paid back in dollars, we could see the dollar experience a lot more strength in the coming months and years, right? Before the final collapse, as bears like Peter Schiff like to predict. So you've got that. Gold and silver, right? Let's actually just look at the gold and silver charts here real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up here. If my internet allowing, let's see here. I might have to just look it up on my trading software. Yeah, this isn't loading. That is so annoying. That is really annoying. Let me see if I can. Okay, so commodities. Yep. All right. It looks like silver is about at $25.17. Gold is hovering around 1,838. Gold is up actually a little bit. Silver seems to be down. You also have the CRB index, right? Rising commodity prices. That is going to support gold and silver. I think it's possible that silver, because I'm focusing on stacking silver for the most part, I think it's possible that silver has found some demand. I mean, on the daily chart here on the silver futures, you can really see demand coming in, right? You've got a strong green candle with a strong bottoming tail right out of daily demand here that I've charted. So it's possible we could see silver make another go for that $27 range. Could it break out and go beyond that? It's definitely possible, right? We'll see what happens with Biden's stimulus plan becoming more and more real with Janet Yellen getting confirmed, right? All of this stuff is very, very bullish, in my opinion, for precious metals. So I will continue to stack. I will continue to be taking some of my profits out of the market and stacking heavy metals, precious metals, I should say. But let's talk about PayPal a little bit because that's the stock that I've been trading the last few days. So here's a daily chart, right? You can see Thursday and Friday were bearish, right? We actually went down, and today, that green candle right here, we're just kind of bobbing up and down. Like if I show you this on a 5-minute chart, we're just sort of bobbing up and down. Not a lot of momentum, not a lot of movement, either to the downside or the upside. So it's really kind of difficult to trade in these conditions. And this is what the overall market looks like, right? When I bring up the SPY, even though the SPY is up on the day, right now, not a lot of movement. The VIX is pretty low, still around that $22, $23 range. But you can see we're kind of stuck, right? We're stuck in between a small demand zone, right? A 5-minute demand zone on PayPal. And in between the 5-minute demand zone and 1 hour supply, right? So the higher time frames, when you chart these supply and demand zones, which I will make a video about how to do that, the higher time frames are usually, like the 1 hour supply is much more powerful than the 5-minute demand area. We do have more demand below, but the biggest demand area is the 4-hour demand, which is at about $235. We are all the way up here right now at $243. So we're about $8 away from the 4-hour demand area. So I do think it's possible that PayPal could blast through these 5-minute supply areas that I have charted out and sort of bounce off of this 4-hour demand zone, $8 below where it is now at $235. Or that's where the demand zone is, at $235 about. So let's just talk about my trade real quick, and then I'll kind of talk about some of the recent news with PayPal. So I journaled my trade today, which I think is really important. I don't know why I haven't been doing this more often, but basically pre-market, journaling the news, journaling what I'm seeing, journaling all my levels. But then actually during my trade, right, as soon as market opens, kind of journaling, right, 9:30, market is here, 9:32, PayPal just broke this level, right, 9:35, PayPal bouncing off a VWAP, whatever it is. That's sort of how I am going to be trading now, right, like actually writing this out while I'm in a trade. So I got in kind of early, right? We did open up in a supply area, which I had to get rid of because it was invalidated. And when we do open in supply, that's usually pretty bullish. Now, we didn't gap up exactly, right? We gapped up a little bit. But we had a nice strong green candle pre-market, and then we kind of chopped around. Should have figured it was going to be a very choppy day, especially with everything just kind of in limbo, right? Trump exiting the Oval Office, Biden getting inaugurated tomorrow. But I figured there was going to be some buying volume for PayPal, right? I figured there was going to be more buying volume than there actually was. And you can see on this 5-minute, 5-day chart, we're kind of making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So we'll have to see where this goes. But we do have heavy supply, right? We've got all-time highs over here at 249 just 2 or 3 days ago, right, on Thursday. And we have still yet to break the high of Friday's pre-market. We're almost there, but I would say that we're still technically in a downtrend until we break this high from Friday's pre-market, right? And then we also have Thursday's opening as well, this high at 249. So a lot of selling pressure, a lot of people taking profit. It's understandable, right? There's people that got in when it was like $200, people that got in when it was $180. So there's a lot of selling pressure right now. And you can see these topping tails, right, really getting rejected at this 244, 245 level. But I did manage to make a small profit today. I was looking at several different charts. I can actually show you my setup. This is actually my setup when I'm trading. I've got a 5-minute, then I can switch in and out of the 5-minute and 1-minute chart. Hold on a second. Let me put all these on red. So you can see I've got like a 5-minute chart. I've got a 15-minute chart down below. I've got the daily chart, so I can pay attention to what the daily candles formation looks like. And then I've got the option contract right here, right? If I go over to trade, well, this is GDX. Let me go back to PYPL. Sorry, I didn't have this all set. So, let's say I wanted the 250 call. I would basically just copy that and just post it right here. So I got in way too early, but this is my setup, right? This is my setup. I've got the option contract over here, and I've got different charts that I can read. So let me go ahead and just get back to the one big chart. So you can see on the 5-minute chart, we had a huge bottoming tail, kind of bouncing right out of this 5-minute demand area. And then we kind of bounced again. Now, I got in too early. I got in, it was right around this area, and we did make a move into 1-hour supply, but then immediately got rejected. Now, I held because I figured my stop loss was going to be down here at the daily low. We did not make a new low. Right, and the whole time I'm journaling all this. So, these are the reasons why I'm staying in. We've got the demand area. We've got the higher low. And then eventually the trade did work out. I managed to get out right about on this green candle here. I think I was actually reading the 1-minute chart. And as you can see, it was just kind of, I should have sat on my hands. I should have known that this was going to be kind of bouncing up and down. We're kind of just hovering right around VWAP. Let's see, where is my VWAP? I don't know why it keeps taking my VWAP off. Let me just put this back on. Let's see here. Take off the lower band and the upper band. Okay. So we're kind of just, bouncing around VWAP. The purple line is the VWAP. And the moving average isn't really going anywhere. It's just kind of bouncing up and down. But I did manage, I got in too early. I thought on this pullback here, right, you can see we kind of went up and then there was a pullback. That's when I got in, hoping we were going to get a move up. We did have some green volume down here, but it didn't work out. So I sat through the pullback. All right. We did not make a new low. The low was down here at like 240.98. We did not make a new low. We didn't even get down there. The higher low, I should say, was 241.71. And then it broke VWAP. Moving average started rising. And I actually sold pretty much at the top, right? Because we had such strong supply. I was like, I better just take the little profit I made, and I got out, okay? And as you can see, I made the right decision because we sort of bobbed up and down, up and down. Here's the actual trade. You can see I bought the 250 call for 186, kind of high, and I managed to sell it for $211, right? Right now, I think it's worth, how much is the 250 call? Right now, it's 264, 271 is the ask. So it's not too far from the price that I bought in at. But I don't think PayPal is going to do a whole lot today. I think the markets are just sort of bobbing up and down, right? You can see from the SPY too. The markets are just trying to figure out what's going on, what's going to happen with the inauguration. They're waiting for probably the stimulus plan to actually become more real, right? Not just Biden's rhetoric. This is the SPY right here. But on PayPal, some of the reasons I will be looking at PayPal and looking to try to play this move when it does finally break that 249 level and does finally hit 250. I don't know if that's going to be today or tomorrow, but I think it could be this week. It could be next week. Some of the things that PayPal has going for it is that recently it became the company, the first company to gain full control of GoPay in China. All right, GoPay is a payment app in China. The CEO of PayPal, Dan Schulman, says that controlling GoPay will help PayPal, quote, be a stronger partner to Chinese financial institutions. You have a second catalyst for PayPal, which is the Buy Now, Pay Later program, the BNPL service. And that's expected to hit $166 billion by 2023, right? The market for Buy Now, Pay Later is going to be billions of dollars by 2023. And then earlier in January, you had a lot of crypto volume on PayPal, right? The crypto volume, you can now buy cryptocurrencies through PayPal. No, you can't actually take the keys off the PayPal app. Right, PayPal owns the keys, but you can purchase some crypto through PayPal, and the volume hit $242 million already. So PayPal is poised to dominate and benefit from the rise in crypto. This is why I'm watching PayPal. This is why I'm trying to catch some kind of move on PayPal. Again, do I think it's going to happen today? I mean, it could. Right, but we don't got a lot of green volume here. You can see the volume's kind of light on this 15-minute chart. We're still under 1 hour supply with lots of selling pressure. So we'll have to wait and see where this goes. But that was, kind of my analysis, my market analysis. Long term, I'm very bullish on silver, very bullish on gold. I mean, even though these are highly manipulated markets, I think eventually the banks like JP Morgan, these banks that are buying and hoarding gold and silver, they're going to jack the prices up. Just like they can suppress the price by selling off paper silver or paper gold. Eventually, to hedge against the losses in real estate, the losses in equities, they're going to jack the prices up of gold and silver. And I want to have some exposure to that. So let me know what's on your watch list. What are you looking at? Comment down below. Follow me on social media. I'm on Parler, Gab, BitChute, all the alternative tech sites. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Big shout out to everybody on Patreon, everybody supporting me on Patreon and PayPal, or just supporting me in all the ways that you do. Really appreciate it. And with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. As always, until next time, God bless.